Photon Fizz, please.
Sure, bub. Whatever you want. Beep, 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 beep. The Vincent character, which I didn't even give a race. Now that I'm looking at all this stuff, assume he's human, so I didn't write a race down on here. He closed up shop a day or so after the Great House meeting, and hasn't seen him since. No one really thought about it when he closed up shop, so no one really asked him where he was going. And now that it's been a few weeks, everybody there's curious now. They're like, we're not really sure where he went. It's a little strange that he closed up shop. We always had activity, always had people coming and going at the place. So they don't know of him being in any financial trouble or anything. So they just thought it was a little odd. They said maybe he moved in system or went in system to visit family or something and just hasn't come back. But they don't know exactly why he hasn't been back, but just that he left a couple days after the Great House meeting and no one's seen him. So that's really the last they heard.
All right, so just to Slashik, I'm going to say, sounds like they killed him. I think he's dead.
Yeah, based on the past experiences we've had with this kind of thing, I would wholeheartedly agree. I'd also probably bet that the door's unlocked, or it would be easy to get in.
Well, I'm not so sure on that. It does look like they have some sort of security system there. I think an automated security system. I think if we tried to barge into that on our own, I think we would alert security. Maybe possible to arrange for someone else to allow us to enter without setting off the alarms, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I do know. So,
and just as a GM piece of advice, you also have contacts in the security guild if you need somebody to make sure patrols aren't wandering around when you do this, just as an FYI.
I know it would be a good idea is if we had someone on the inside, maybe Clayson could help us to find an appropriate time to do this where no one will be wandering around.
Yes, of course.
Damn, that's a good idea.
Oh, we forgot to roll our...
We forgot to roll our destiny die. That could have been our use.
Right. Yeah. Slashik has a good idea. Ding, destiny point.
Exactly.
Alrighty.
Okay, so are we going to contact Kurt, or are we going to let him do his thing now and then follow up again?
Let's head back and check in on Kurt.
Okay.
Wee. So we fade over to Kurt. Yeah, the little screen wipe over to Kurt.
I was thinking of the Wayne's World thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So Kurt, which do you have a specific one you want to work on first? Because I have to let you choose one or the other.
Yeah, I would go after the identity of the kidnapped person, get that one rolling.
All right.
Not knowing what to expect, but yeah.
That's going to take quite a while.
Yes.
What you ran into the first time, it's going to take some effort to kind of nail down things. Because your first time, if you recall way back, your first time through, you could tell that it was being actively kind of hidden. Whatever it was being actively hidden. So it's not just a simple, it's in a database somewhere. You're going to have to actually cut through some stuff to do it. So roll for me. Let's see. What is that skill? I don't even have the page in front of me. Or was it electronics or did we use computers?
Oh, computers.
Do what's the 5 dice? The 5 die difficulty computer one for me, just to give me a start point. And we'll see how that goes.
I gotta turn off the sound on this thing. Sorry. None. Okay. So 5 dice, 5 hard, so that's 5 purple. And then I gotta put in my computer. It's been a while, sorry guys. 2 yellow.
That's all right. It's the first time anybody's rolled dice in like 6 weeks.
Oh geez, don't put that pressure on me. Don't do that. Okay,
this is
here we go.
make break moment. Does the Death Star?
Oh, this doesn't look good. I have. Oh wow. It's not better than I thought. 1 success, but 2 threat. Yeah.
That's for your 5 purple dice.
Yeah, I end up with.
Kurt laughs at your 5 purple dice.
Yeah, this is insane.
Yeah. Well, that's how it always is. Doesn't matter how difficult I make it, you guys. It's like Slashik.
That's like the maximum.
Yeah, Slashik, I need you to try and out charisma somebody. 5 dice. He's like, oh, I got a success and a triumph. Like, jeez,
dude, that was ridiculous. That roll where I was trying to deceive those 4 troopers, and I sent a picture to all of you because I didn't even believe it.
I was like, oh man, he's definitely gonna. Here we go. Get the pistol ready.
That's what I mean. It doesn't matter how difficult I make it. You guys somehow find a way.
I was reacting to the purple dice. Every single purple dice has got a failure on it. I'm sorry, has a threat, and 2 of them also have a fail. What I didn't see were the yellow dice. I wound up with 3 triumphs on just the 2 yellow dice.
What?
And
then, that's ridiculous.
Oh,
3 triumphs?
Not triumphs. Sorry, the
success.
The one that's above the success. The
advantage.
Advantage. Sorry, I wound up with 3 successes against the 2 fails, but 3 shoot, you just said it. I gotta get my cheat sheet out.
Advantages.
Yeah, advantages. So in the end, it's 1 success and 2 fail. There's just a boatload of symbols on all these dice.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing I can do except for just start making you guys like roll 7 dice. Roll 7 dice for me.
Yeah.
How many will the system let you throw in there at one time? 5, 6, 8, 10?
I don't think it's going to stop you. I can keep adding
there's
as many.
Limit. Yeah.
Is it really? Okay. I'm just making a note of it. It's not actually going to give you any like actual results, but it's just you it's not like the hacking that you were doing earlier, where you're going to find out a little bit of information each time. This is more just moving you towards an end goal. But I'll let you roll another one of those basically every day or so to continue your algorithms as they run through. For the old man, that's going to take a little bit of a different tact. Where are you looking for the information?
I wanted to go into, I'll call it like, maybe like personnel records of the Electricians Guild, because I'm looking for, an older gentleman that apparently was injured on the job and has now lost his eyesight. So I'm trying to use that criteria to search for candidates and then come up with a bunch of names, or maybe just one name.
Right. Okay. Trying to think what the best thing to do here is. Knowledge. What knowledge skills do you have?
What knowledge skills?
It's those ones on the.
So I have.
Trying to find an actual character sheet instead of these.
Recently got some additional stuff. I have what do they call it? Like career skills in education and underworld.
Yeah. What's your education skill? Is anything specific or just general?
I suppose it'd just be general.
Give me a 2-die knowledge, just a general, like I said, just a knowledge roll.
Okay. 2 die. Let me kick that thing up again. So go like that, and then kill those off. Kill these off. Add 2 more. Roll it. 2 success with 2 advantage.
Okay. Well, the first thing that springs to your mind is probably to check against the what is that word called? Crap. It's when you get hurt on the job.
Compensation.
Compensation. Yeah, workers' compensation claims over the past X number of years. You assume it's an old man, so we'll give you like a decade. So you go back basically a decade. That's your thinking. It's like, hey, I should probably check against the workers' compensation claims for the last decade. So based on that information, give me a 3-die medicine check.
Okay. I need to just add one more and re-roll. Oh boy. Only one success and one advantage.
All right, it's good enough though. You're able to decipher all of the medical lingo well enough to hunt down the at least the what they're describing as like eye injuries and that sort of thing. So you're able to dig through that and come up with a gigantic number of people because it's a system's worth of compensation claims, and eye injuries and that sort of thing happen all the time. You're starting to notice. Let's see. What would you do to narrow this down now that you know you at least have a giant list of the people who over the last decade have had workers' compensation claims for I feel like I'm going through a legal class right now for eye-related injuries. What would your next step be?
So is this the whole system? Can I neck it down to people that are in the guild, the electricians guild?
You can. So that shouldn't take much time. You're able to hack that down. You're still going to get a fairly large number of people. Say, call it like 10, 15,000 people. I mean, you've got billions of people in the system. So, you still got a large number you're going to have to work with. But, how would you go? What's your next step?
I think
think of filtering an Excel file. What are you?
Yeah.
What's your next filter, sir?
So what I want to do is try to filter out like I would say the recent stuff, like claims that have been submitted within, I don't know, maybe like the last decade, and get rid of that. I don't know the assumption that this happened to him some time ago. It wasn't.
Well, that's what you're working. Well, that's what you're working with now. Is everything that's in the last decade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then let me start playing off of age. So, like eliminate anybody who's, I don't know, like less than 20 years old. Because I don't know when this happened to the guy exactly. I mean, he could have been 55 when he was, when this all went down. So get rid of the young.
Okay.
And what does that take me to? I mean, can you ballpark that? I mean,
you're
good progress.
Yeah, you're making pretty good progress as you start to play with these numbers. I'm forcing you to think your way through the filters right now.
Sure.
Anything that a database might have that you might want to filter down off of. You're going to get down to less than 1,000 people at this point. With based off age, say anybody that's like 40 plus, you're going to be less than 1,000 people at this point. The young tend to be stupider when it comes to not wearing their eye protection.
Okay. I kind of want to try and bring in, I mean, it's like a little bit of a hunch because given the way that Kayla had described this guy, my recollection was like he was like maybe retired. Like the guy still knew him, but he was retired. Like as in he's on like permanent disability. So can I, with this 1,000, can I try to determine if any of them were on permanent disability as opposed to they just got injured and now they're, potentially back on the job?
As a matter of fact, you can. So you'll be able to nail that down to just a couple of people that have all of these similar things. So you have a couple of people now that you could go delve into deeper if you would like to.
Okay.
Get you some names.
So it's a manageable set of.
Yeah, it's like a handful. It's okay. Less than 5 people.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Hold on, I got to dig up an old email with all the information on this guy. To go through my folder of Age of Rebellion campaign stuff, and I have to make sure I keep all this stuff secret so you guys don't see it. God, how long ago was that? I wrote this stuff a long time ago for this guy too. That's what's funny. Just in case you guys ever hunted him down earlier. Let's see. What the hell I called this guy? All right, hold on. talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
I like the.
I'm trying to send a photo of the roll. Yeah.
If you've actually narrowed him down to a handful, that's actually pretty good. Did you already filter by like location, like of those who might have been on the station or something like that?
I don't recall actually putting that in. I started off with just the system, and then who's in the Electricians Guild, and then to age, and then permanent disability was the filter criteria that I recall.
Nice. That's good. I mean, because obviously if you have like 5 and 3 of them are on Coruscant right now, that's not going to help us, but the other 2 we might be able to, meet up with. And also, people tend to stay within their neighborhood, so if you can find the closest one to the bar, that's probably your best bet. Yeah, unless he was visiting. But yeah, I think that's going to be the way that we do it. Even if we can't narrow down the 5 names, just go with the closest ones first and then work our way out. We might even be able to use Keela to identify the guy, right?
Yeah, I was hoping that maybe I could. One of the first things is pull up a list of these guys, find out any of them are actually still alive. Because if somebody died 10 years ago, that's not good. But yeah, try and get pictures and certainly zeroing in. I like your whole idea of, hey, if he's coming to the bar and everybody kind of working at the bar knows him. I mean, he's Norm, right? I mean, it's Norm from Cheers.
Well, no, he wasn't at the bar. Keela said that she had talked to a couple of people who had talked to him.
Okay.
Right. He never actually was in the bar. Now I remember. Yeah. Interesting.
Okay. All right. So.
Well,
but yeah, we got a couple things
even so. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm still digging here.
That's okay.
No worries.
Let's see what we got. I'm trying to get this die roll out. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so Phil, you and I we're going to like head back to Kurt and maybe go back at a different time to do a little search.
I think that would be worth it poking around inside the fabric store.
Okay. All right. Maybe. So you know how you've been wanting to go to the gun range so you can increase your skill for a sharpshooter?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a skill that I'm trying to get. I'm trying to figure out how the heck I'm supposed to get it. And it's Armor Master, and all it does is it increases my soak value by 1. And so I'm thinking like, well, what on earth would that mean?
Shooting you? Maybe?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe going to the fabric store, I find
more
some
soak damage. What the
padding.
hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
I can.
You're gonna make. You know what's gonna happen is J-Bot is gonna have to make enemies so deadly that they can hurt you.
That's right. And they'll just.
But
kill
when they
everybody
shoot us, we're just gonna. It's gonna like evaporate us.
Oh well, all I'm doing is following my little talent tree. I'm not like I didn't actually specifically want Armor Master, but that is the next one in the way to get to what I want. So it's one of those things I can't circumnavigate. I'm not trying to load up on soak, even though my soak is obviously very good. But I think it would make sense. Just I always wear my padded armor, and maybe I'm getting better at aiming my body to deflect certain blasts by hitting my shoulder pads or not taking the brunt of the damage directly on.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. But...
So who knows? I mean, maybe going to the fabric store, I find something, or I realize like a cool little, I could utilize this or blah blah blah. I don't know. I'll think of something, but just following the tree. Follow the tree.
All right, I've got a lot of stuff here. It's a very old file. Let's see, I'm actually just finding the thing. This is what you're from the old man. This is what you guys remember from Keela. She basically, there was a group of electricians in the bar talking about something technical she didn't understand. This is all from her. When you first kind of met her, I guess when she was first explaining how the whole thing happened with Hineni. And they were at a loss trying to figure out something technical, and that one of them suggested asking the old man about it. Another said he was off his rocker and hadn't been the same since his accident. He lost his sight, spent time either drunk off his ass or reminiscing about the old days. And if it wasn't that, he was babbling about some old archive he found, et cetera, et cetera. So that's it was
Okay.
somebody that had never actually been in the bar.
Okay. Cool. Kurt, I think I think you should filter by liver medication.
Maybe, yes. Yeah, I was thinking about doing like a cross check to like medical or like a mental illness or complaints on mental illness or anything like that to
Yeah.
try and see if anybody had reported him or whatnot. If you had run in with like local authorities and they have to write that stuff up.
That's so funny. Anybody find anything on liver problems or? It's just so funny. You guys trying to figure out exactly how to do it. All right. I am unfortunately not finding it. I might still have it at the office and not have it here in front of me. So I think it'd be easier, at least right now, to go back to Vincent's, so I
Sure.
can find that file.
Yep.
All right. So, Kurt, mind doing a few door tricks for us? Getting us
Ooh, my-
into Vincent's fabrics? It looks pretty quiet. I think they probably killed the owner or disappeared him right after the meeting. So,
Okay.
it might be, we might be able to find information inside, clues inside that point us in some direction, but I think in general we're not going to, it might be impossible to get our hands on Vincent himself.
I'm up for it. We got to do a little coordination with Clayson before we take off, or his
Right,
crew.
yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, you can get a hold of Clayson, or actually just use one of the contacts that you have downstairs to make sure that you have a good window in their patrol routes, like in their rotation. So, for example, a shift change you might be able to use, take advantage of. But you find one way or the other. You find a good opportunity to do it when the local security folk are not there, or at least won't be quite as aware of what you're doing.
Okay.
All right, let's go do it.
Yep, I got my bag of tricks. I'm ready.
Bag of tricks. I have my bag of tricks. It's ready to go. Man, I can't believe I can't find that file. That's going to drive me nuts now. I had a lot of good stuff written down. All right. Okay. So, how's your approach? What's your plan on this? How are you attempting entry into this place?
I'd recommend if we're kind of being a little bit stealthy, we all kind of walk around the building. I'm assuming you didn't do this kind of a detailed check, but just check to see if there's any cameras or anything on the exterior, if there's any kind of telltale signs that, oh yeah, this window or door is definitely rigged to an alarm or something, as opposed to just pushing a door in, if you will.
Right. Well, from having watched the security hollows for quite a long time, where they cover and where they don't. So
That's true.
You'll be able to find an easy way around them. Although they will cover the entrances and exits, you'll know where they are and can blind them, for lack of a better way of doing it. So you would at least know that much. I mean, you guys would have spent quite a long time going over security footage, just trying to see if there was a pattern in the movement of people. So that would not be difficult at all for you guys to do, to blind a couple of
I think we should... Kurt, why don't you loop some camera footage?
Yeah.
For us.
Every time I think of that, all I think of is like somebody's pocketbook shifting over like a space from Speed.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll let me try to, I suppose, get into the systems and just quote unquote blind those so that they're running a loop or something, and it just makes it look like everything's just fine.
Okay. Give me a 2-die. Is computers equivalent to slicing?
That's kind of the way we have been doing to
Okay.
date.
Yeah, just do 2-die computer one for me then.
Okay.
2 purple dice.
Get rid of that. 1 success, 3 advantage.
Yeah, no problem. Or at least as far as you can tell, you have no issue with looping it. You watch it once or twice to make sure there's no trash can that moves or anything strange like that. But you don't notice anything obvious that's like shifting positions slightly. So you don't, as far as you can tell, you did a fine job.
Okay.
So you may make your approach.
So how do you want to do this, guys?
Yeah, if you guys look around, you know going through the front would probably be a bad idea just because there is activity, just people wandering around the streets, that sort of thing.
So we got a back door?
Yeah, there'd be a back door on this. It feels very small townish, so there's actually alleyways every 2 or 3 buildings to let you get around behind them. Standard kind of garbage can alley, if that makes sense. Runs kind of along the back of all of them to allow for refuse and that sort of stuff to stay off the street. So they all have back doors. Not difficult to find at all.
So, Kurt, why don't you take care of the door? I'll stand at one end of the alley, and Slashik will stand at the other, casually. Just, leaning against a wall or something, but keeping watch.
What?
And then you can do your thing, and we'll come and join you when you have the door open.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
I almost need to have Slashik roll like a casual roll. I need you to roll for looking at
Real cash.
Could be like a cool roll or a...
Well, that was because I was listening to the one where you guys were in the bar trying to look casual, and it's like look casual, and it's like just him standing there like a statue, like sitting in the chair, scanning the whole room. You're supposed to be looking casual. You look like was it the Indian in a cigar store, like just standing there staring out the door the whole time.
Yeah, that's true.
He hasn't learned how to be cool.
Want me to do a cool check?
No, you'll be fine. No one's really paying that close attention to back at the alley. So, Kurt, give me 3-die computer to see if you can get in through the back without raising any alarms.
Okay, 3 success with 3 threats.
What?
Yeah, I had to look at my cheat sheet. Yep.
Oh, I don't even know how to use that 3 threat. Well, let's say you pop open the back door, but an alarm does trigger. It's not a very loud one, but it's definitely going on the back door. It's not like blaring across the whole place, but there's definitely an alarm you've noticed.
Darn it!
Yeah. You may attempt to continue. You may attempt to kill it with another one.
Yeah, I want to do that. I want to try and silence that thing quickly.
Yep. Get another 3-die.
Okay.
Kurt and his inability to do anything smoothly.
Okay, here we go. We got 2 success and 1 advantage.
Okay, yeah. Pew, it cuts off really quick.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. It's all good.
It's enough that the other guys noticed it, but
But I'm just gonna play it cool, like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Like what?
I like to think of it like you opened a car door with the key still in the ignition, so it's like, ding ding ding, like
yeah.
that sort of. Oh God! Just take that key out. Nobody noticed.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're able to get the back door open. Let me roll just to make sure nobody.
Hey guys, the door's open now.
Let me roll just to make sure nothing stupid happens. See, is that considered an advantage? Okay, yeah. Wow. 2, 4, 6 threat. No, nobody hurt.
Ooh.
Nobody heard a thing. Okay, so you were able to slide into the building, Kurt, after your brush with the alarm system. You're into a back room. It's a small storage room. Nothing too fancy. It's got boxes in it, but nothing amazing. It's got lots of bolts of cloth, different types, different textures, et cetera, et cetera. All of it looks to be, kind of wrapped up, not really in use at the moment. Like nobody's cut into it or anything fancy like that. So that's what you're seeing here in the back room. Is it looks very much like just a general storage room for the shop in general. So is everybody else jumping into?
Yeah, I'm gonna head in.
Okay.
Yep, you know Slashik is.
Yeah. You're not supposed to dive into the. Okay. Where's part of my? Let's go.
And I'll shut the door behind us.
Yeah, probably not a bad idea. Crap, where'd it go here? Blah, blah, blah.
What else do I have?
Okay. When you come in, I will remind you that there is still lights, like kind of just a general, really one security light that's on in the place. You were able to see through the store during the day, like not all the way to the back, but because of that light, you were at least able to get some kind of viewpoint through the store, just as an FYI.
All right, so we should be careful. Slashik, stay in the back, and Kurt and I will creep around.
Okay, I'll keep guard. I'll watch, I guess.
Would it be
Let's check it
possible
out.
to
Check things out back there.
like turn that light off or loosen the bulb or whatever it is? Loosen the laser? I don't know.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could probably. I don't think there's a light switch for it that would cut it off. It's kind of one of those permanent, always on deals, almost like an exit sign, if that makes sense, where it's always lit up to some small degree. But you could certainly loosen the bulb or snip a wire or something if you got up to it. You'd have to stand on, let's say, you'd have to stand on the counter, for example, in order to be able to reach it.
You think that would be worthwhile, just to have a little added can't see in type protection?
Well, it might also be a little conspicuous if the lights go off in here.
Okay. Well, be
I think
careful.
we should just be careful.
Okay.
Yeah, no running around in front of the glass. You'd probably be okay. When you look around the store, it looks like a regular. It's not the type of clothing store you would have expected. It's not like piles of clothing on racks and on shelves and stuff. It's really feels more kind of like a tailor shop where there's mannequins, or the equivalent of mannequins in the Star Wars universe, showing off different kind of fashions or different work attire and that sort of thing, and different like cloths and that sort of stuff. But there's no purchasable or obviously purchasable clothing. Does that make sense? And he's got a couple of what look like mirrored, kind of like somebody was going to be tailored in front of them, right? Somebody who's going to put on one of these kind of what the hell is the word I'm looking for? Kind of a test fit jacket, for example, and then measure and see how that does, and then go to another one. So he's got a lot of that sort of stuff, but no actual like merchandise to sell. What you guys are gathering from this is that he's more of the tailor that is kind of the front man for whatever this business is. So he's selling, getting all their kind of fitting information and that sort of stuff, and then it must be passed on somewhere after that. If you guys have done some actual like research and scouting for like how the business works, you come to find out that that's basically his information all gets passed to, for lack of a better term, a company that makes the stuff, like a sweatshop. Like I do all the fittings. I make sure it does good. I'm the face, the expensive guy in front of everything, and then I pass the business down to, like, the actual hand crafting portion of the business down to another company. So he doesn't, at least as far as you can tell, he doesn't do a ton of selling, as far as you can tell. But he does have a small computer system, and I guess little office and that sort of thing. If you guys want to continue to search.
Kurt, why don't we see if there's anything inside their computer system? What their sources of income were.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's go check it out. Let me find the power button for it.
And I'll help you.
Yeah. Look, here's the power button. Power switch. All right, there's my boost. You won't need to roll for this. There's no real security on his computer system, other than getting it booted up. When you get it turned on, there's no obvious, like, anything really crazy on there. There's some records for money handling, if that makes sense. This person paid this much for this service, and that's pretty much it. It's really just line by line. Received $10 from so and so. That the equivalent of that sort of thing. No in depth, like, accounting software. It really doesn't even have like what the person ordered, if that makes sense. Which is probably the first thing that jumps out at you as a little odd. Is it's like, what did this person buy? Like, what did they? It just shows, like, Jimmy paid 150 credits, and that was it. Like, there's no for part number XYZ. It's just a list of kind of money receipts, if that makes sense.
But it's not like coded or anything like the files that Mika helped us work through.
Nope. Just like I said, it all. I can't give you the credit prices on the stuff, but if you were to guess at them, they make sense for this guy's services. Like, the prices that people are paying make sense for the services. The only thing that's odd about it is there's no description of the service rendered. Like, there's no, you can look around the shop and see that he has all these different fabrics and all these different, designs and stuff, but you don't see anywhere in here where that information is being passed along to the next person in line. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like there's nothing in the system. Like, how is he telling these people how that's being done? Like, what Jimmy ordered? How does the next company know that Jimmy ordered whatever brand?
So that kind of plays into this whole notion. So let me take back. So, guys, this all plays back to kind of the notion of what we saw in the video, or what you were telling me about the video, is that it's like people go in, but they never come out with anything. So if people are actually coming in here to buy a suit or whatever, when are they ever getting it? It's like, well, they're not coming in here for the suits and so forth. So it makes you wonder what all this money tracking is all about.
Right.
Can we do a general search of, like, the office?
Sure.
To see if we can.
Yeah, he'll have
stuff.
some general cabinetry and that sort of thing if you'd like to loot through that a little bit.
Yeah.
Use the word loot. When you go through one of the kind of cabinets or boxes in the office itself, there's not a lot there. Just a desk, a chair, some cabinets. I want to say filing cabinets, but they don't really have paper. You'll find a crate which, when you open it, looks like it's a filing cabinet. Let's go ahead and use that for lack of a better description. And inside that cabinet are swatches, like cloth swatches inside them. And each one of those actually has written on it, or it looks like the person's taken, like, a grease pen or something like that, and written people's names and all the information for what somebody's ordering on, like, a fabric swatch. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it looks like let's say you went to your list, Jimmy paid 150. You can actually see on there, Jimmy, size, blah 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 blah. It looks like all of his actual record keeping for the shop outside of just the money handling is being done on these little fabric swatches.
Do any of them look weird?
Give me a. Let's see what stat this would be. Education, maybe? Is education even a thing? Knowledge?
It's knowledge.
Let me just look through the rest of these. Yeah, just give me a hard knowledge or 3-die knowledge. Should be good enough.
Any specific knowledge?
No,
Because
just a general.
Right.
You're really just kind of coordinating things as you flip through these.
So we're kind of going off of our intellect then, in reality.
Yeah, it's really just an intellect roll more than anything else.
And I'm sorry, you wanted us to roll how many of the purple dice?
3.
3. Okay.
Alright,
Hard.
so I'm failing that. 1 failure, 2 threat.
I'll also let you find a couple swatches in there that are very nice. Like, ooh, this is some good fabric.
It goes well with my hair color.
You get distracted. Man, I wish this guy was still in business. In fact,
you get,
you might actually wander into the back room to look at his bolts of cloth to see if there's any of that particular one still on the shelf back there.
Mm-hmm.
Did we lose Slashik?
Huh.
Huh. Well,
Slashik's still here.
He still says on here. Maybe he's
Can you
muted.
hear me?
Yep.
Oh, there he
There
is.
we
now.
go. Yeah.
Well, sorry about that, guys. I was sitting on the mute button and I couldn't figure out what was doing.
Oh
He
no.
was being so stealthy. Slashik, where the hell did you go?
Okay, so
Okay. Yep.
I'm back. I'm ready.
2 intellect or a 3-die intellect roll or knowledge roll is really the easiest way to do it. Please,
Okie dokes.
as y'all flitter through this box of cloth swatches.
Okay. Well, I'm not a very intelligent wizard, so I have a success and 2 threats.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
And then
What
I
did
got
Kurt find?
Kurt got 2 success and 1 advantage.
All right. Well, the two of you notice that when you start going through these, there are several of them that don't match with what you saw in the computer. So Johnny and then Robert, say Johnny was missing from the pile of swatches that's back here. And you'll notice that like there's at least a half a dozen of these in this case that are missing from the case itself. The rest of them look like they're in regular kind of order. And in fact, if you went through his timeline, it looks like he's never gotten rid of any of them. He's had them for years, all these swatches and things, in case a customer came back in and wanted to get the exact same thing he'd had before. But I shouldn't say half a dozen. You start to notice, once you notice this, that there's actually more and more of these as you go through.
Okay. And the ones that aren't in alignment, they still say, Chuck and a size and.
Oh, they're not there. All you have is the name on the computer file for having been paid, but not not the actual swatch in the box anywhere.
All right. Okay. All right.
Huh. So what do you guys think of this?
Well, it looks like these may have been abducted people. Enslaved people.
Or the person that they're paying for having brought in an abducted person. Right?
Maybe.
That'd be right. It's the outlay of money.
How do you think we can chase down this lead more? Can we look at missing persons in the area? Let's take down these names, these extra names. See if they match up to anything that might be related to slaving.
Okay, you can do that. It doesn't take too long to run through, say, the last 3 or 4 months worth and writing down those names. You notice the same kind of pattern that you did with the other places where the pace was picking up. And when you get back to your hideout, for lack of a better term, you can actually jive those records against the money movement from Mika's file. If you recall, that was kind of your first thing, was that these guys have a money trail that's being passed. When you compare the results from his system, you can actually see the same pattern. Like, hey, wait a minute, this is about the same pace and kind of heartbeat, if that makes sense, of people and payments that are happening between the Mika's file, the encrypted file, and his kind of handmade way of doing it.
And each of these names that we're jotting down, they're different, or are they repetitive?
Oh, they're different names. Yeah, they're
Okay.
definitely different names. Yeah, but that's all. Like I said, that's all you're getting out of his system is the name, and the prices just look like prices he charged everybody for stuff. They're not like, Johnny that's missing from his stack of swatches isn't like 5 times as much as everybody else's in price. It's all the same prices as far as that's concerned. So, I mean, this is a fairly upscale, so it's a little bit more expensive than just your, bottom dollar overhauls, that sort of thing. But it's or overalls, but it's also not thousands and thousands of dollars either for these clothes. But they're nice. They're quite nice, stylish, as far as work clothes go.
Is there anything like call it like a cash register or some point of sale area? I mean, I'm assuming I'm not sitting at it, with the computer.
I mean, not
am.
not really. There would he did most of his stuff kind of on the floor, and money would have changed hands on the floor. He doesn't really need to register because he's not buying and selling from people. They would just, hey, here, this is how much it cost, and he would get paid for that sort of thing. So there's no real register, if that makes sense, other than his computer and his you never saw him need it, if that makes sense. Like, there wasn't 20 people in the store at one time, so he needed to have a very obvious point for people to stand in line for.
Okay. I was trying to think of maybe there'd be one on a cash register, if there would be some kind of a safe or something in the building, and where might it logically be placed?
I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, he probably would have a safe. I didn't really think about it when I was writing this up. He probably would, and it wouldn't be super well hidden. It would be easy enough to get into, but it would be empty. So I don't think you guys wouldn't find anything there. It's very obvious he's gone. Like, there's no, like, it doesn't look like he left in a hurry, so it's not like discarded, like a cup of coffee still, half drunk on the table sort of thing. It looks like he purposefully packed up a lot of stuff and left. So there's not a lot of odds and ends sitting around.
Not the Hanene scenario.
Not as far as you can tell. It doesn't look like there's a dead body that's been dragged out of here in any way.
Right.
It certainly looks like he closed up shop one day and just didn't come back.
Hey guys, do we know anything about Vincent himself? Like where maybe he lives?
We didn't look into it, but might be good.
I don't know if that might be worth. Yeah, it might be worth pulling that thread a little bit. I'm kind of at a loss. Vincent himself, the proprietor.
Vincent, okay.
I'm assuming it's actually Vincent, that it's not somebody else. But
yes.
But trying to understand a little bit more about the owner, the proprietor of the
Well, there's
facility
also
we're standing at.
Kurt. There's also the option for you. If you remember, I mentioned way back that you've heard about this place and you've had people tell you about it. Just other people in your kind of guild. Hey, if you're looking for some nice clothes, that sort of thing. So there are people familiar with his store, that have shopped at his store before that you would know. So that's always an option as well for you. If you need to just get some general information about the store, you can always go back and talk to a fellow guildie.
My peeps.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Would it make sense to head back to the bar, compile the data, and maybe see if we can find the location of Vincent, and then meet up with him or try and find him?
Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss as to what else to do standing in this, in the shop. But I'm struggling to figure out exactly where he's fitting within the slaver organization. I feel like I'm missing something here.
Right.
And I'm just not coming up with the right question or searching in the right area. I don't know. Slashik, are you seeing anything in the IR spectrum that might lead us to believe that there's some hidden room or something?
Let me take a quick look around. Hang on.
Did I just go all engineer on you guys?
Yeah, that's funny. No, there's not. He doesn't see anything. No crazy hidden passages or floating napkins or anything weird like that.
Well, I think it might be worth trying to pay Vincent himself a visit, or his apartment a visit. Is there actually living quarters above Vincent's fabrics?
Yes, there's living quarters above all of these little places, like little, whatever you call those things, like a shop, housing, a couple of rooms above the shops on this street. So looks like all of them have a connection.
Is there a staircase inside the store that goes up to living quarters?
Sure, why not? I didn't draw a map of this place.
Let's poke around a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. Let's go for it.
All right. Yeah, you're able to make it upstairs without much trouble. Like I said, I didn't draw the place out, so you're able to make it upstairs without much trouble. It looks like a living quarters. You're going to find about the same stuff downstairs or upstairs as you do here. It doesn't look like he left in a gigantic hurry. If you go through his closets, it looks like he's packed most of his clothes up, but there are still a few things still there swinging away. There's no food sitting uneaten on the table, but it does look like there's food in the fridge that's all kind of rotted. That makes sense. Like in the all his food has gotten really old since it's been so long at this point, and he didn't make any effort to like do things like take out the garbage or anything like that. It wasn't like he cleaned everything up because he was going on vacation. It definitely looks like he wasn't planning on coming back anytime soon, based on what you're seeing there.
Well, it could be that he figured out what was happening and decided to skip town before the Imperials came after him.
Sounds logical.
So if he pulled that off, it would have been, after the lockdown on travel? Because that was, at least a couple of days that travel was locked down.
Mm-hmm. Yep. When he disappeared, it would have been around the time that the lockdown was made, but the lockdown's also been lifted for quite a while now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think maybe heading back to the bar might be good. And then looking at what Mika had helped us figure out, there were a number of businesses that I think we had identified, and I'm trying to recall where this one fit into the like string of businesses and how the money was flowing from one to the other.
This was one of the places that was getting money through Helgens.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just getting this big feeling like this is now dead end. And I can't think of a way to take the data that we're gleaning and go anywhere with it.
I'm racking my memory and looking through my memory files here.
I see that.
I think Harlow mentioned a place called Galaxy's Finest Fit.
I do recall that. I do recall that being on a list somewhere connected to this place.
I think the slave candidates may have been coming through Galaxy's Finest Fit in some way and then being processed here. So maybe they referred potential slaves to this place. I have a feeling that Vincent here may have been not apprehending and capturing the potential slaves, but instead giving their addresses to his thugs or whoever to
The
then
actual
abduct
kidnappers?
those people at their places of living. I think that may have been how he was operating. So I think that whatever was going on here wasn't the final product. The final product was being delivered somewhere else, and that may have been the place where the enslavement actually happened.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because if you've got a bunch of technicians by word of mouth say, "Hey, go here to get your duty garb," Vincent's going to get quite a few candidates to show up.
Right.
And if they're providing all of their data as in, "Hey, I live here, mail my suit here," easy to get picked up when the suit arrives, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So, you think we should start looking at this Galaxy's Finest Fit?
That may be a good idea, yes.
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to help us continue improving and expanding our channel's content.